Oh,
Yeah.
no, it's still cycling. We missed it. Hold on, we'll hit the button again so we can. All of our 3 followers can
4,
love it.
3,
2,
1.
1.
Almost done instead. Here we are.
And we're back. We're live.
Where are we?
This is the first time we've ever been ahead of schedule, I think.
Yeah.
Mainly because Sabrina didn't today,
No
so
dips.
we're out of dips. But we did bring a really good guy here. Chrome Dome over there is nice and shiny. Mr. Bill Bloom,
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Great to
Welcome
be here.
RP.
the Rusty Putter. Bill is not at the Rusty Putter. He's in his own special podcast videos that we'll talk about at some point here, I'm sure. But Bill is he's a South Side boy, right, Bill?
Oh yeah, through and through.
You're from Frankfurt, right?
Yep. Born in Oak Lawn, good old South Side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Families from the South Side.
Lincoln Way guy?
Yeah, Lincoln Way East.
East.
The good one. The good one.
The Griffin.
Yeah, the black and blue. They got all the fancy Nike contracts and everything over there at that school.
Yeah.
No kidding. Hey.
Yeah. But anyways, Bill, so I talked to you all. Adam, it's the first time you've met him, but how you doing, man? Doing good?
Hey, living the dream over here. Just have a lot of moving parts, running a couple companies, dealing with the family. We have 2 little kiddos running around, and our hands are full, but a good full. Definitely a good full.
A good full is a good thing. We'll talk about the companies in a minute. We'll talk about some of your running around and your world travels as well. What's been going on in your life recently that you have expected?
Oh boy. How much time do we have here today? This could be a doozy. I just got to say, when you figure out what's important to you with your life, whether it's family, work stuff, I think that alignment has been a big change this year. Really, really a huge change because learned a lot this year. Like Tony, you and I have talked a ton. Like we're doing some business things right now. It's been just like the most remarkable year after you figure out, oh, you get your tax bill. It's like, okay, what do I need to do with my money to get it into a different place to help with paying some taxes? So I think that's one of the things we could talk about today for sure.
Right.
But yeah, just really grateful for the family and watching the boys grow up with my wife.
All right. What's gone on recently that's been unexpected besides the tax bill?
Unexpected, yeah. I think from an unexpected standpoint, you always plan to have these big, grand, audacious goals. And things don't happen as quickly as you want them to. I think that's from an expected standpoint. I'm always thinking, I need to do this, I need to do that. But nothing ever works out that way. And I think this year I've realized you got to slow down. You got to really slow down. Sometimes you just need to pump the brakes before you put your foot on the gas. Because nothing is ever going to happen as planned, whether it's family member getting sick or someone breaking a bone or, dealing with different medical issues. You have to be able to deal with these things and stay on the path to
Planning
Yeah.
is key, right? That helps you avoid unexpected.
a million percent. A
What is
million
insurance?
percent.
Insurance also helps with the unexpected as well.
Hey.
That's why we got to.
It might even be in our mission statement. I'm not sure. I have to look at that.
So, Bill, there's a lot of current events, not even current term, longer term events that have been popping up here. So we've gone through the last 12 months or so, one of the fastest increases in the Fed funds rate, one of the fastest increases in actual inflation itself, inflation proper, shelf expense. As we've talked about lightly, and obviously none of us are accountants, so we're not going to go too deep into taxes, but everyone is feeling the impact of increased income tax situations too, whether it be from capital gains tax, from gains, when we see the S&P, however, a lot of equity and stock stuff has run up quite a bit.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden we have this conflict in the Middle East, and now, bond price, bond yields dropping, rates might be coming back a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing on your side from financial planning, from budgeting, all of that stuff.
Yeah, all these instances have an impact on the markets. And that's just the reality of it. We live in such an information first world where if you react to that, it could be catastrophic. And you're making decisions when you don't know all the facts, because once you get a news headline, you may think I need to do this, that, and the other. And sometimes it goes back to what I said a little bit before. Sometimes you need to slow down and take in all the information. When you look at inflation, like my wife's from Argentina, they have 100% year over year inflation. It's been astronomically high. And here in the US, it's really starting to affect people. I've seen this from one of my businesses is people are struggling right now. They're really struggling in certain segments. And this is where, when you're looking at your money, if you have a W-2 job and you get a paycheck every 2 weeks, every month, is having a plan for every single one of your pennies is the most important thing, is to stick to your plan, because when the markets are bad, that's a good thing because you can make more money over time if you keep investing. It really goes back to 2008. The housing market was affected, right? Insurance companies were affected. Financials were a mess. But if you would have held on to things or bought more investments at that time, where would you be today? Probably better off, right?
Probably on
Probably.
an island.
Maybe, right? Those are the times where you almost need to double down and really understand your plan, because some people love real estate. I'm a fan. Some people don't want to deal with, the toilet thing. You don't have to change the toilet yourself. You could have someone else do that for you. But if you double down on that and double, triple the amount of properties that you have, things could be really good right now. But understanding your own plan and where your risk tolerances are, in and of itself, is really the most important thing. And sticking to it when times are bad is going to keep you on the steady. And I keep telling people that because in 2016, 2020, 2022, we've had big down years. I mean, the market was down 20, 30% each year, and it's hard to get out of that. And that's where you need to just stay invested, in my opinion, so that you could have brighter days in the future.
So one thing we talk about, you talk about real estate, and we're seeing a lot of people who planned for this and knew that rent was going to increase, housing costs and shelter expenses going to increase. People have been picking up a lot of investment properties right now. Adam and I talked, I don't know, maybe a month and a half ago. We were going through, we looked at real estate as a whole nationally has had 2 years of decline in value of 2009, 2010. So after the 2008 crash, from like 1946 to 2022, you had 2 years of bad. Everything else is good. I mean, you're not going to see massive increases all of the time, but it is steady. And that's because population continues to increase, right? We were seeing that. We've talked about that. There was 3 million more people added to the world above the normal birth rate in 88, 89, and 90. So more demand for housing. The least amount of houses ever built in the United States, 2008 to 2012. So there's this demand for housing. People want shelter. But now all of a sudden you get COVID in here, you flip it. And we had Tony Monedero on a couple of weeks ago. He was talking about how COVID has changed real estate permanently, because now people can work remotely. It's way more friendly, more accepted. And so now people are moving to further outside the urban sprawl. Real estate, though, I guess we don't want to dive too much into one of your businesses, which is financial planning. But would you agree that the majority of the people in or B, in your book of business that own real estate have the highest net worth?
I would say, from a personal property standpoint, it depends on their debt.
Okay.
But if you have, I mean, I would phrase it as the people who I know and in my circles and through the yacht club and through just our friends, like the people who have invested in themselves, whether it's a business or in real estate and buildings, or they're really consistent with their investing. And when things are bad, they don't panic. Those are the people who are doing the best and they
Okay.
don't overspend. That's just simple math right there. But from a real estate perspective, it helps from a tax perspective. If you have a spouse that doesn't work, let's say, and you could have them become a real estate professional, that could be a huge benefit from a tax standpoint. As long as they hit the criteria, that's huge. Or doing short-term rentals that could help with taxes. Those are really, again, you have to be very careful with the city you go into and the laws because that's always evolving and changing. But understanding how to get ahead is never been easier because the information is so available. Just like the news, you could watch a 10-minute YouTube video about accelerating depreciation or doing pre-tax versus post-tax from an investment standpoint. I think the people who do the best also understand the tax game the best or have a great accountant. Because if you put a dollar out there to invest, but you're going to get taxed at 50%, this is just an example. It's probably not a smart way to use a dollar. But if you could use that dollar and keep your dollar, that sounds like a better way to do things. So you
I'd
have
like
to
to do business with
understand,
you on that regard.
or instead put the dollar out and you get to keep 90 cents on the dollar forever in perpetuity because of the tax benefits on the back end, depending on the tax law changes. That's how you have to go about putting your money to work. Is it going to give me a tax benefit now, tax benefit later, or both? And then just really going all in on a plan like that and understanding where your cash flow is going to come from, whether it's from your investments, real estate, your business in the future, and how is that going to be taxed as well. But that's why this is all complicated and people don't even want to dive into it because the details can be enormous. But
Well, tax strategy is a scary thing to talk about, right? People always talk about taxes, the few sure things in life, death and taxes, right? And then when you die, you pay your family has to pay taxes. It's a little bit of a morbid topic, but it's really not as scary. But what you're talking about earlier about cash flow, I don't think that the average or the very beginning investor or the very beginning entrepreneur understands what taxes do to cash flow, right?
yep.
They gobble it up. I mean, or you're talking about your invest. So if you're a regular W-2 employee, you're making, your family taxable income's over $250,000. 32% of your money is going to the federal government, right? So your dollar all of a sudden it's worth 70%. They got to give some money to the state. So now all of a sudden that your dollar that you earned is probably 65 cents in cash flow.
Well, whenever you do your taxes, the taxes are marginal. So the first X amount of dollars that you make, you get taxed at 10%, then 12, then 22, then 24, then 32. So your whole amount is not taxed at 32. But when you get into higher tax brackets, yes, those dollars get taxed at a high rate. So it can be painful. That's why you need to know your effective tax rate. That helps a ton. And
I'm real effective.
yeah. super duper effective. Yeah.
So we'll dive into the boring tax stuff a little bit more, but tell us a little bit more about you, Bill. Who's had the most influence in your life personally and professionally?
So it was definitely growing up, it was my mom. My parents were never great with money. This is why I'm a nerd about these things, is I really never wanted to be in a bad financial spot for when my wife and I had kids or whenever I would find my wife and have kids. So that was always a big goal for me. But there were so many times in my childhood where I didn't know if we were going to have a roof over our head because my parents didn't pay the mortgage or they were late or my dad got laid off again and again and again. And all these stresses really turned into not necessarily a trauma, but a way for me to have motivation to never, ever be in this financial spot. Have I made mistakes? For sure. 100%. Have I been perfect with it? No, absolutely not. But my mom was definitely a big, big factor because she took care of the house. She took care of the food. She took care of the groceries. She worked 2 jobs just to keep the lights on when I was in high school. And I worked 2 jobs in high school just so that I can have some car money and going out and just have money basically. So I learned that work ethic from her. And she was just like the most incredible person. And my one of my companies is named after her in honor of her because she's not with us anymore. But I've had some really great mentors. When I first started my career, it was at Prudential. I was 22, 23, and there were guys who are making 300 grand a year. And I thought, oh my God, I want to be like them when I grow up. They seem like they're making all the money in the world and all these things. They all had on a Rolex and they wore nice suits and they drove a BMW and all the things that you look at. And I thought I wanted to have all those things. And once you either get them or live that, you realize that you're putting out energy into the world to impress other people, and that means nothing. And once I stopped doing that, I really became, you know, aware of not chasing after these silly things and just making life about what I want and what's good for our family. And once I started to do that, I had some great mentors in the strategic coach world, like Dan Sullivan. Um, they made me realize that you're gonna explode and really go further in life when you start prioritizing internal things instead of external. That was a big game changer, and I never understood that as a kid.
I'm also in coach.
Hey, look at
You haven't
that.
been.
That's
And
awesome.
professional coaching, like I'm in it too. It's what has allowed me to take my business to a next level. I know Adam's business gone to a next level, and Bill. I mean, we've been friends since you were probably 22 or 23 at Prudential, right?
Yep, yep, yep.
And I've watched your business grow, and we'll talk about some fun stuff here too. So, for a while, you and I traded books, and we send each other books. You've authored couple books now, right? Retire as You Desire, The Yachting Guide, a couple of those.
A
What do we
couple of
got?
them. Yep, yep. There's 4 right now, but I gotta tell you, writing books has been, I thought the first one, I'm gonna sell 1,000,000 copies. Again, it goes back to expectations. You had these unrealistic expectations. People don't buy books. There's like 1% of books that are actually sold that 80% of the books get read.
I
It's
got a whole stack. I got a whole
crazy.
stack. I'm a weirdo. I read about a Kindle. I got to. It's got to be paper, and I got to. I mean, it looks cool on an airplane sometimes, I guess. So we talked. Growing up, you kind of brought up what your family went through, how it shaped where you eventually wanted to go, and I know that drove you to create money, which is going. If you want to talk about that for a quick minute, it's one of your companies. It's an app under development right now, right?
Correct.
I obviously named it after your mom. Like that, I think when you find something that is so personal to you, it really, really allows that business to succeed because it's just who you are. You're not having to, put a costume on and all of a sudden you're Batman type thing. So tell us
Correct.
about DianeMoney, the motivation to develop it, what it does, how it does, where people can find it, and then plug that secret that's coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was sitting in a 10x session at Strategic Coach, and I'm sitting in the room with Dan Sullivan, and I thought to myself, when you join Strategic Coach, you do the Colby. So when you do your Colby, I'm a 5582, total quick start. Um, it They basically show you how your brain works from a cognitive standpoint. It's like the most critical thing to understand about yourself. It's a great $55 investment to take that if you haven't. And I was sitting in the room and I thought everyone has a relationship with money. And I went back to my childhood and it was like really bad. It was very scarce, not abundant in any way, shape, or form. So I formed my habits to be the opposite because I didn't want to be like that scenario. And in the strategic coach room, you're in a room filled with high level entrepreneurs doing a ton of business. They live very successful lives. And I thought I wanted to create this money assessment so people could understand their relationship with money. Lo and behold, there's a bunch of them out there. A gentleman told me, who's going to pay for something like that? Like, who's going to want to really understand the relationship with money, because most people don't have a good one. So I just shelved that. I thought, you know what? I'm not going to waste my time. But that got me thinking, if people aren't going to understand their relationship, how can we have a tool that's going to do the work for them and show them how to get ahead every month? And that's where DianeMoney comes into play. It's a smart thinking tool. It's an AI-based, algorithm-based tool that's going to link your bank accounts and your credit cards and your student loan and your mortgage payments, basically all your bad debt. And it's going to show you every single month, if you want to be debt-free in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 1 year from now, what you actually need to do every month to become debt-free. And
So it
that's
gives you
going
a
to
plan.
free you up from an investment standpoint, a cash flow standpoint. I'm sorry, what did you say, Adam?
So you're helping people make a plan, because what I've heard you talk about is that everything starts with a plan, but most people don't have a plan. So this thing organizes all the action and makes it easier for them to follow a plan.
Totally.
Sound fair?
I mean, absolutely. Following the plan is so key. And if
How about
you,
having one? I mean,
Yeah.
most people don't
Well,
even
I
have
think
one.
that's where it starts, right? So the entrance to the app is, what is your plan, right? Pay off debt. I need to knock out bad debt. I need to save money for this. I need to do that, right? And then it's almost a set it and forget it, essentially. So you develop it. It gives you the prompts of what you want to do, and then it tells, like, this is the path of most success, right? That's what it tries to prod you along to do, Bill.
well, it's going to look at if you have credit card debt, if you have a 23% interest and you have a 5% student loan and a 10% car payment, what do you tackle first? What do you do first? How do you get rid of the credit card debt first? And we do all the thinking for you, and we show you every month, okay, here's what you want to do to get rid of this. And that way, you don't have to guess anymore. It really takes those guesses and stresses out of your financial life. And it's a really simple and affordable tool. It's less than Netflix every month. And you don't have to guess anymore. It doesn't do investments at this time or anything like that. It's purely a thinking tool to just really guide you to get out of your bad financial situation. And, credit card debt just hit, what was it, $1.1 trillion? It's just incredible. It's really incredible. And inflation hasn't helped. So DianeMoney is going to be here to help you.
I love it. I mean, that's what we talk about, credit card debt. You and I have talked about it. Adam and I have talked about it. So, we went in first quarter of 2023. It was the first year in 30 years the credit card balance in the United States did not decline in the first quarter. Usually, you rack them up Q4 for Christmas. First quarter comes in, you get your year-end bonus. You saw through them. It didn't happen this year. And then it grew again. And now we're at an all-time high. And people talk about, the Fed funds rate, that's going to impact mortgage rates. No, but the Fed funds rate actually impacts down the line, becomes prime. Most of your credit cards, if you look at that 8-page, at the very back, it's got a box about that big. It tells you your rate is this plus prime.
Yep.
So 23% is probably a good deal now. I think we're seeing credit cards 28, 29%.
Oh my God.
And you all of a sudden you factor in that in your cash flow, and you're swimming in the deep end with no floaties on, no life preserver, really, really fast. So
your effective tax rate is 20%, and you're paying 30%. Now all your money's gone.
It's essentially, you got no cash flow, and then you just don't know what to do. You don't know where to turn, and there is so much. And this is a good question for you, Bill. There is so much advice online. We talked about quick crash course and accelerated depreciation. You can do this. How do people navigate through what is good information and what is bad information when social media is just full of clickbait?
It is. I would really stay away from gurus or people offering get rich quick schemes, or here's how to do it in 2 days or 1 month, 90 days. Like, things like that don't work. So in and of itself, stay away from that, because it's just not realistic. You have to be consistent before you can win. and getting rid of your bad habits is one of the most painful things we could do. And I would literally take a day off of work and just put your phone away, which is hard to do as well, but just be by yourself and think about what's important to you in your life and where do you want to be. That's your North Star. And once you figure out what's important to you, get rid of your credit card debt. Do you need those extra pair of shoes or the pair of jeans or the sweater or the t-shirt? Whatever it is it going to help you? I mean, asking yourself a question before you spend money is going to be your saving grace. It's like, is this going to help me make money?
That's
Or can I sell this thing and make money? And if the answer is no, don't do it. If you're struggling, you have to sacrifice. Buying a $10 book is going to be a much better investment if you read it rather than buying a $10 t-shirt. So
Or
really,
$10 Starbucks.
yeah, totally. The Starbucks
Arena.
is crazy.
And we talked about that last. We were talking about what a Red Bull in a cup of coffee costs you every morning, and all of a sudden you swipe it on a credit card, and next thing you know, now you're carrying a $2,800 balance all year and paying 28% on the cup of coffee.
Yeah, for habits. I think just understanding how you're spending your time too, like writing down an activity inventory. Like Adam, you're familiar with this, depending on how long you've been a coach.
Well, I heard
Write
you
down
already
all the
talk
things
about free days and buffer days and all the other things inside of your talk.
yeah, that's like free days is a game changer. That's totally a game changer. But write down all the things that you do in a day and understand what are the 2 to 3 things that actually give you energy. And if you have nothing on your list, you need to change your life because you're going to be miserable forever and ever and ever. And there's no point in being miserable forever. It's your life. You have to understand your time.
Definitely. I think a good spot, like, I'm confident that you've read the book. You've brought Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Yep.
So there's a great activity inventory you can download for free. If you get the book, it gives you a link. And that's been a game changer for me. It's been a game changer. It helps you with the plan. You know where you're wasting time. I would argue that time is the most valuable resource over money any day of the week.
Oh, yeah. Because if you don't have your health, I would actually piggyback on top of that, going back to like what's important to you and like where you should start with your health. Because if you're taking care of yourself, if you have money, great. But if you're sick and you don't have money, or if you're sick and you have money, none of it matters.
That's
True.
a super good point. What I know you're a book guy, Bill. So what books or series of books have shaped your career the most?
One of my favorites right now has been Who Not How by Dan Sullivan. That's like the quick little cliff note on that is like if you have a rental property and the toilet explodes, right? Just as a theoretical, that's the biggest excuse you hear people not getting into real estate or investing in the stock market. I can't afford to lose 10% this year. Well, things are going to happen. But when you ask the question, who should be doing the work instead of how is this going to get done? It reshapes and reframes the situation in your mind to say, I don't have to go and change this toilet at 1 a.m. Like there's someone who's much better than you, much better qualified to help figure this out for you. So that Who Not How is a game changer. That's really a great book. The David Goggins books, like You Can't Hurt Me, and his latest book, just man, if you think you have problems, read those books. You probably don't have problems if you think about that. I'm looking at all of my books here. One of my favorite, there's 2 more. Never Split the Difference. That's by Chris Voss. He's been on my podcast. Been in a room with him.
FBI hostage negotiator, right?
Yeah, just incredible. Just being in the room with him as strategic coach and just listening to him. He is just the smoothest guy on the planet, man. Oh my God, Chris is great. And then Lifespan. I think this is the most important one. It's by David Sinclair. I read the book, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't understand half of what he was saying because they have all these medical terms in it, but it's all about how to reverse aging. and live a much longer life and do it in a very simple way. So lifespan, David Sinclair, that is incredible because if you don't have your health, you have nothing else. You don't have wealth, you don't have time. And we've seen it in my family, my wife's family, just people being sick and taking, their lives too early. You just got to take care of yourself.
I believe you got that book for me for last Christmas, if I'm not mistaken.
It's
And it's on my bookshelf in my office. If you had the attention of the whole world for 5 minutes, what would you say? World's biggest billboard, you could broadcast it all over the place. What would you say? But not in 5 minutes.
and do what you love. I mean, don't let your friends, don't let your family, don't let the people who don't understand your vision bring you down, because those are the people who either A, don't understand what you want to do, B, they don't have the same ambitions as you do, or C, they don't want to see you grow. They want to keep you in a little box and they keep you as your friend, and they don't want to see you making $1 million or $10 million or whatever aspirations you dare to dream to. And if those people in your life are holding you back, fire them.
I love it. I mean,
fire those people in your life who don't belong. It doesn't matter if it's family. Those are hard ones, right? We've had to do it. It's just if they don't see eye to eye, don't waste your time. You don't owe them anything. You don't owe any of these people anything. And if they're your friends who have been holding you back for years and years and years, let them go, because you're going to get new friends who have new ambitions and better ambitions, and you're going to grow from that. So on the billboard, it's okay to fire friends, do your own thing, go for what you love. You're going to live a much happier life anyways, because you're going to struggle, right? There's going to be struggles regardless, but you might as well go for it.
So you're a firm believer in the phrase, you're the sum of the 5 people who you spend the most time with. Is that what I'm gathering?
Yes, 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 and more yes. I mean, Adam, and you, Tony, too, when you started either Strategic Coach, and I know, Tony, you were doing your business coaching with the real estate folks. What happened to your businesses in your life? I mean, how did that change?
I tripled for me.
It tripled.
It tripled. And it was all it did. It forced me to really look at who was in my life, who was around my life, who was a multiplier for me, who was a subtractor for me. And when you remove those subtractors and all this is multipliers, the math's got, we've talked about it, the math's got a math.
Yep.
It's easy to, 2 times 2 is 4, times another 2 is 8. All of a sudden it makes sense on that. For me, that's what I look at them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the same thing we've been talking about. You take a second out of your busy day, because we all have our habits and we're going and we think we're working towards something, and then you take a minute and say, okay, I'm going to take some time and actually plan out how to get better, and I'm going to have some structure plan, and then I'm going to execute that plan. So until you take the minute to do that, whether that's business or your health or your family, if you don't take some time out to just say, what is my plan and how am I going to do it? That's something that like Coach gave me. Like I go there and I just nobody's bothering me. That's my time. It allows me to get a plan. So if we're going to tie that back into your app, it's you can keep doing the same thing over and over. Definition, insanity. So, or you can take a second and be like, on my calendar, next Wednesday, I'm going to take 2 hours. I'm going to download and I am going to stop suffering by ignorance through not knowing how money works. Just do it.
That's it. If you're struggling with a plan or a business, obviously we'll put all Bill's contact info on there. We've always talked about Adam's. You reach out to me. I have a 1-page business plan. It's fill in the blank. It could be for any business. And it starts with, what do you want to do in 10 years? Where do you want to be at in 10 years? And you work backwards from that. And it tells you what you got to do. I can tell you right now, just very candidly speaking about my business, I was talking to some people today with my office manager. I know that we have to have 505 opportunities in October to close 50 loans.
Wow.
So historically speaking, I needed 300 at-bats or 300 opportunities to close 50. Well, I need 505.
Yeah.
Divide however many hours I want to allocate towards that, which is about 2.5 hours a day of prospecting. And I know where I got to be. It's math. The math's got math, but it's a plan, right? I wouldn't have known that plan had I not taken the time 3 years ago to start tracking all of my conversion ratio and monitor all of this stuff. So yeah, it's a plan. It's the same thing with money, right? How am I going to get out of debt? I need to take 2 hours, look at all my debt. Where's my money going? Right?
Yep. Yep. I mean, with us, I mean, the app is going to take 10 to 15 minutes max to get everything aligned. I mean, to literally invest 10 minutes of your life to get it all
That's
done.
a lot, Bill. That is a lot.
10 minutes. I mean, people have
10
watched us
minutes.
for 28 here. But I agree. So, Bill, let's go talk about the app a little bit more. So, www.DianeMoney.com.
Yes. And in November, so a couple weeks, we're going to be giving $1,000 giveaway away to everyone who just signs up, put your email in towards a vacation. So someone's going to win $1,000 towards a vacation because in all the studies that I've done, people want to free up their money to travel. And I love that. I'm so aligned with that. Traveling is like the best thing in the world. So I thought, you know what? Let's give $1,000 away towards someone's vacation, their next vacation, help them out because people are struggling right now. You just go to DianeMoney.com and put your email in and you're going to be entered. It's literally that simple. Pretty simple.
It. So, DianeMoney.com. The app is currently under a reboot right now for the Apple one and the Google. Approximate timeline you think on getting that back online?
So I think by December, everything should be back online right in time for the holidays. I mean, talk about mistakes. I mean, the whole back end of the app, I thought it was going to be ready to go in February of this year. And the developer just didn't do his job very well and just didn't do the programming very well. So everything is just being reformatted and everything is in like the most incredible shape right now, a really incredible shape right now. But things happen and you have to go with the flow. You have mistakes, learn from them.
Sometimes you pick the wrong who, you know?
Yeah. Totally. I mean, this is my friend's company who was helping me build this. Like they're the back end developers and one of their people just was not doing their job very well on multiple projects of theirs. So they're literally rebuilding the whole entire back end at their cost because the front end was the right who because they have an integrity and they're doing things the right way and hired actual fintech, like financial technology developers. So I just think it was meant to be. Everything was meant to be. Believe me, I was on the struggle bus all summer long being frustrated with this, but that's life and we're in a good spot right now.
But I think it speaks volumes to who you are about integrity too. Instead of just pushing out something that you knew wasn't going to yield the best results, pump the brakes. Let's just get it right. That way we're making sure everything works with the most chance for success for everyone that enrolls in this app, sets their goals, makes their plans, right?
Oh my God, yeah. I just want it to work and work for my people. That's the main thing is I want to work with people and be a hero to people who want to have a better financial life. That's why I started my business. Basically, it was 2008 when I started in the financial world. And I realized like I don't have the capacity or the time to reach as many people. And that's where the technology is the multiplier. And I can't sit down and plan out your budget or plan out your debt all day long. So that's why we're going to leverage technology, make it simple, make it fast, make it affordable, make it easier, and a heck of a lot less expensive than hiring a financial advisor to do it for you. So it's literally going to be in your pocket for you. So simple, so simple. And who doesn't want something that's cheaper, more efficient, affordable, right? Effective. That's the name of the game.
Right? It's effective, right? At the end of the day, effective. People talk about all this in construction all the time. I paid the cheapest guy to do it. Now I got to pay someone to undo it, then pay someone to do it right. Yeah. So effective is where it's at. I think it's one of the biggest multipliers there are. So we talked about Diane. How else can people get in touch with you, Mr. Bloom?
So we have Bloom Financial is my investment company where I help people retire as you desire. the way that my brain works is I really love helping people plan for income that could last your lifetime, depending on how long you live for, just figuring out how to make your money work in that way. And it's really tied into the app as well. Is if you free up the bad debt, you can invest or wherever you want to invest, where your intuition says to invest. And it's just really a passion project for me. I just love doing this. I don't think I'll ever retire because it would drive me crazy. I just am too motivated, driven, and obsessed with helping people. It's just a non-negotiable for me. That's one of my non-negotiables is I want to be of service and helping people, in giving, because that's a big part of who I am, because I got that from my mom and my dad, right? When it was 100 degrees out and the mail person comes around, I would see my dad, hey, do you want a water? Do you want a pop? Like those little things that have been instilled with me is just how I run my life. And yeah, it's a great way to live. So Bloom Financial, the bloomfinancialco.com is our website. And if you look up Retire As You Desire, you're going to find this bald head everywhere and the Retire As You Desire podcast as well.
All right. Well, we'll make sure we share those links there. Before we hit the final question, you did talk about travel. You love soccer. You took your son to a soccer game in England.
Yep. We went to the Leeds Fulham game
Oh,
last year. So we traveled. My wife and I traveled with our, how old was he? Maybe a year and 2 months at the time, and a 4-year-old. Doing the flight and the jet lag and the whole 9 yards. It was incredible. It was anyone thinking, maybe I shouldn't do it. Just do it. You figure it out. You suck it up, right? You just got to go for it. But I played soccer all my life, played it in college, still follow it a little bit. I don't have a lot of time for it. But being at a soccer game with our 4-year-old was so incredible. It was just like one of those special memories in going to an actual real live like football match. It was just so special for me. And the pictures are great. I know he had such a great time, but it was interesting to see how the fans were and how things were different here. It's just a way of life. And it's just a pure passion sport for the people in England. And I love it.
I love that. Any more?
No, I just think Bill and I have a lot to connect on, so we're definitely gonna get offline. Because there's a reason for that. Why there's so much passion. Because all the games matter. You get relegated, like it matters.
Yeah, it's not like the NFL. Like you can't tank to get a draft pick, right?
Yeah, there's no tanking.
Bill, is there anything we haven't covered that you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, just follow your passion. The money's going to come. The money's going to go. Things will happen in life. But if you're going to be true to yourself, be true to what you really love doing, most times the money can find a way to you. If you're worried about money, that's the byproduct, folks. It's just how you want to live your life. Really enjoy what you love doing. Take care of your family. Take care of yourself. If you're doing those things, you're winning. Don't worry about what other people have because it doesn't matter. The majority of the time, people aren't thinking about you anyways or care. So think about yourself. Think about your family. Take care of those loved ones and go for it. Don't be scared. Just really go for it. And if you ever need help talking about that, I'm here. I'm sure Adam's here. Tony's here. Because you guys have all done it. And don't be scared to take that risk.
I love it. Relentless accountability to yourself, right? That's the hardest part. I think people struggle with is holding themselves truly accountable to it. Do I want to do it? Well, here, now I got an app that'll make sure that I'm doing it. All right, Bill, so www.DianeMoney.com or bloomfinancial.co.
Yes.
All right. Love it. That's how you guys get in touch with Bill. Obviously register, get the app, get going, get signed in. That way you can win that $1,000 vacation credit. Get out of here. Who wants to be in Chicago in December anyways?
No.
Not me.
Not pretty.
Adam, we get you at adamismyagent.com.
That one works.
That one works.
Yeah.
You get with me at www.applywithjr.com. We talk mortgages, we talk insurance, we talk finances. Bill, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on. We can't wait to have you on a few more times once the app is up and running. of our few followers over here wins that vacation too.
Thank you guys. This was a blast, and
Appreciate
your
it, brother.
audience, awesome. Thank you guys so much.
See ya.